Tade Lawson never left anything to chance. At 49, he had built a business empire from the ground up, controlling every aspect of his life with precision. But there was one thing he could not control: the perfect heir. His marriage had crumbled years ago, and despite his wealth, love had always eluded him. Then he found the perfect solution: create an heir, one molded in his image, one who would inherit his legacy without the complications of love or marriage. Enter Ifeoluwa Alade. A struggling but immensely talented artist, Ife had spent years chasing her dreams, barely making ends meet. Her paintings were raw, emotional, everything Tade was not. He had first seen her work at a small exhibition and had been captivated not by the art itself, but by its depth. It reminded him of something he had long buried, his own loneliness. Tade made her an offer: paint a portrait of him that would serve as his legacy, and in return, he would give her enough money to change her life forever. For Ife, it was an easy yes. A year of security in exchange for one painting. She could finally rent a proper studio, buy the best materials, and perhaps even hold her own exhibition. But she never expected the second offer. Tade was fascinated by Ife. She was everything he was not: unfiltered, unpredictable, passionate. As she painted him over the weeks, their conversations grew deeper, the walls he had carefully built around himself beginning to crack. One evening, as she worked on the final touches of his portrait, he made his next move. "I need an heir," he said, his voice measured, as if proposing a business deal. Ife stopped painting. "Excuse me? I don't believe in love, and I don't want marriage, but I do want a child. And I want someone unconventional to raise them with me." He paused, studying her reaction. "You challenge me. You're not afraid of me. You would make an excellent mother." Ife burst into laughter. "You think because I'm painting you, I want to have a baby with you? Are you mad?" But Tade was serious. He wasn't asking for a romantic relationship, just a co-parent, a child raised with the best of both of them. Ife thought he was crazy, but something about the idea stuck with her. She had spent her life struggling alone. She had never seen herself as a mother, but this wasn't a traditional setup. It was a chance to create something, just like her paintings, but living, breathing. She gave him an answer neither of them expected. "Let me think about it." 6 months later, Ife and Tade were figuring it out. She moved into his grand estate, not as a wife, not as a lover, but as something else. They were bound by an agreement, a contract outlining everything from finances to parenting responsibilities. To the outside world, the arrangement made no sense. The media speculated, employees whispered, friends and family watched in confusion. But something changed when Ife got pregnant. Todd, once distant and emotionally cold, became present. He attended doctor's appointments, asked questions, even set up a nursery himself. And Ife, who had never had stability in her life, found herself relying on him in ways she never imagined. They fought, they argued, but they also grew. One night, as they sat on the floor of the nursery, painting the walls together, Ife looked at him differently. "Maybe you're not as heartless as I thought," she teased. Todd smirked. "Maybe you're not as reckless as I thought." Something shifted between them that night. Just as everything seemed to be settling, a storm came. Todd's ex-wife returned, claiming she had changed and wanted another chance. His board of directors questioned his judgment. Was he really entrusting his legacy to a struggling artist? And worst of all, an old wound resurfaced. Tade's father had once abandoned him, and he feared becoming the same kind of man. Uff saw it happening, the way he pulled away, shutting her out. One night she confronted him. "Say what you need to say, Tade." He hesitated, then finally spoke. Maybe this was a mistake. Her heart clenched. A mistake. I don't know how to do this, Ife. I don't know how to be a father without ruining everything, without ruining you. Silence. Then, with quiet strength, she answered, "Then don't ruin it. Stay. Fight for this." Tade had spent his life running from emotions, but for the first time, he stopped. He chose to stay. 9 months later, their son, Oluwatobi Lawson, was born. Tade held him, staring at the tiny fingers wrapped around his own. For the first time in his life, he understood something beyond control, beyond wealth, love without conditions. Afu watched him with a soft smile. "You're not your father, Tade." He looked at her, at their son, and finally believed it. Their story was unconventional. It wasn't a fairy tale, but it was real.